Be sure to pre-order your copy of the Go-Go Offense by Coach Brennan Marion as he takes you through the ins and outs of the most explosive offense and most exciting offense in college football. You can find it on our website at footballgameplan.com/GoGoOffense. Welcome to Football Game Plan, where football makes sense. I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Mike McCarthy is your producer today. It's the summertime and preseason is just around the corner in the NFL, and we'll get you ready for the upcoming 2019 NFL season as we preview the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, as we kick off the season preview, let us take a look at some of the key storylines heading into the season as we go into our 4-minute offense.
Leonard Fournette was the bell cow for the Jags as a rookie in 2017. Last season, his production tailed off big time. He only had 439 yards and 3.3 yards per attempt. In April, he was arrested for speeding and driving with a suspended license and had to meet with Vice President of Football Operations Tom Coughlin to clear the air. Now, it's back to square one for Fournette as he looks to return back to his 2017 form where he had over 1,000 yards and 9 touchdowns. Nick Foles was a Super Bowl MVP for the Eagles in 2017 when he led them to a 41-33 victory over the New England Patriots. However, that season, Nick Foles only started 5 games, though he led them to a 4-1 record that season. He played well as a full-time starter in 2013 in Philadelphia, and he'll look to play at that Pro Bowl level in 2019 with a dominant defense and plenty of weapons around him on offense. You can expect Foles to play well next season. Josh Allen was a prolific pass rusher as a collegiate at Kentucky. In his 4 years there, he had 31.5 sacks and 42 tackles for losses. He was a consensus All-American as well, in addition to winning the Bronco Nagurski Award and 3 other major honors. With all those accolades, Allen is still behind Yannick Ngakoue and Calais Campbell on the depth chart at defensive end for the time being. Look for Allen to make a name for himself as a sub-package rusher before trying to break into the starting lineup. In 2017, the Jaguars had 6 Pro Bowlers that contributed to the #1 pass defense and was talked about in the same regard as the Seahawks defense back in 2013. With many of the same players still on the roster, this defense is looking to step back up to their dominating fashion with a ferocious pass rush and lockdown corners in AJ Bouye and All-Pro Jalen Ramsey, who's decided not to test karma this season by calling out NFL quarterbacks.
It's time to put this team under the microscope and go position by position to see where they stand as we head into the 2019 season, and we'll start on the offensive side of the ball at the quarterback position. Nick Foles comes over to the Jaguars in free agency, giving them a stable quarterback for the first time since the David Garrard era. Jacksonville is counting on Foles' leadership and ability to avoid costly mistakes and help keep this offense on pace and subsequently move them forward. They're all in on number 7, and he has a great opportunity for success here in Jacksonville. And I actually like the backfield here with the Jaguars. Leonard Fournette is still a very good player in my opinion. Watch how much better he looks this year now that they have a quarterback that can at least threaten with the pass. On Fournette's end, though, he has to find a way to stay healthy for a full 16-game season. Now, the Jaguars upgraded the depth behind him with rookie Raquel Armstead out of Temple. He's cut from the same cloth as Fournette, but in my opinion, he's a much better receiver coming out of the backfield. They also signed Alfred Blue as well. The former Houston Texans back is stable and is solid in pass pro. At receiver, there are some concerns here as Marquise Lee will be returning from an ACL injury. The hope is that he can be ready to go by the start of the season. In my opinion, Lee and D.D. Westbrook are the Jags' best receivers. Now, Westbrook led the team in receiving last year with 717 yards and 5 touchdowns. Outside of that, Keelan Cole, DJ Chark, and free agent signees Chris Conley and Terrell Pryor, they don't necessarily pose a significant threat on the perimeter as each has their own consistency questions. Again, having a quarterback like Nick Foles could be exactly what this core needs as he can get them the football consistently and more accurately than the previous QB. So the jury is still out on this unit, but I think the tight end position is in a much better spot than people will give them credit for. I'm a Ben Koyak and James O'Shaughnessy fan, and as we should see their productivity go up with Foles as he loves to use his tight ends. Also, keep an eye on rookie 3rd-round pick Josh Oliver out of San Jose State. He's one of the better route runners at the position coming out this year's draft class and has very good hands. And in free agency, Jeff Swain was brought in to help bolster the run game with his ability in line. So I think we'll see this group lead the way initially in the passing game before giving way to the receivers. Along the offensive line, getting Cam Robinson back from injury will be huge. He was looking to build off a stellar rookie season in 2017 before going down with an ACL injury in the second game of the season. He, along with rookie 2nd-round pick Jawan Taylor out of Florida, gives Jacksonville two excellent athletic tackles to roll with up front. Now, getting healthy is a big deal with this group, as both starters Andrew Noel and Brandon Linder spent some time on injury reserve last year, which affected the continuity. Right guard A.J. Cann played solid last season, which earned him a contract extension. Now, depth is a work in progress, but it'll be interesting to see what progress second-year player Will Richardson can make and what can former first-round pick Cedric Ogbuehi can bring to the table as he comes over from the Bengals in free agency. Now, here is how I graded the offensive units for Jacksonville. The Jaguars are very strong along the defensive line with cornerstone players in Yannick Ngakoue, Marcel Darius, and Calais Campbell, and the hope is that rookie first-round pick Josh Allen out of Kentucky can become the fourth cornerstone on the defensive front that wants to get better at sacking the quarterback. Also, adding to that wish list would be the development of last year's first-round pick Taven Bryan out of Florida to be an interior threat. He'll have to beat out Avery Jones for that starting role, but at worst, Bryan should become a bigger presence this season. Free agent signee Detone Jones gives them a versatile depth piece on the interior, but keep an eye out for 7th-round pick Dontavius Russell out of Auburn as well. He has that dog in him at the position that I really like and could factor into the mix also. The linebacking core took a hit this offseason when Telvin Smith announced that he'll sit out the 2019 campaign to get right mentally, and we wish him nothing but the best. But that leaves a huge hole at the second level, and the team will look to players like Najee Good, DJ Alexander, and rookie Quincy Williams to fill that void. Right now, both Miles Jack and Leon Jacobs are the only holdovers from last season, with Jack being the only starter. So in addition to both Good and Alexander, the Jags also brought in Jake Ryan and Ramik Wilson in free agency, and Ryan, to me, has a good chance to start as well, as he's coming off of an ACL injury that forced him to miss the entire 2018 season. The Jaguars are stable in the secondary, led by star corner Jalen Ramsey. A.J. Bouye mans the other corner spot, giving the Jags strength at the cornerback position. The third corner spot is up for grabs. Health is the reason why you can't trust or count on DJ Hayden, so Quentin Meeks, in my opinion, has a great opportunity to seize that role from him. I would also keep an eye out for undrafted rookie free agent Savion Smith out of Alabama as well. Speaking of Bama, starting strong safety Ronnie Harrison gives them a versatile playmaker on the back end and expect a big-time jump from him this upcoming season. Opposite of him, Gerard Wilson steps in as a starting free safety, and it'll be interesting to see how the depth behind these two guys shake out, as it's pretty thin in my opinion. However, I do like undrafted rookie free agent Andrew Wingard out of Wyoming, as he was a playmaker for the Cowboys in college and has a great chance to stick here in Jacksonville. Now, here are my defensive grades for the Jags units. The Jacksonville Jaguars know that it's important to get Leonard Fournette and that running game going this year if they want to have success and return to the playoffs like they did 2 seasons ago. And I'm showing you how they can get him going by getting him outside with a convoy of blockers and trying to attack the perimeter in a running game. Here's what I like about what Leonard Fournette does. Once he sees a lane, he's able to plant and accelerate right up the field. That could be in between your A and B gaps, or if you go outside, create a lane for him, he can plant and accelerate and explode through it. And I think one way they can do that this year is by getting guys on the move. They're athletic enough along the offensive line to where you can move linemen left to right, and I'm going to do that here in this play. We're going to make sure we get this backside backer hooked right there by the tight end, get him blocked because you don't want him disrupting the play, because we're going to pull both the guard and tackle front side. So we're going to have the center block back on that defensive lineman. Guard blocks back on the nose, block back here. You're going to get him to get a good chip and then work his way up to that second level, because again, we're pulling the guard. His job is to kick out the first guy, which will be that backer if he comes through. Tackle comes around, leads up, and perhaps either gets a scraping backer or takes out the safety. As a receiver, go ahead and take out the corner, jab step, and follow your lineman around the way through the alley, the old Packer sweep, but you're pulling 2 backside linemen. I think this is one way where the Jacksonville Jaguars can get their ground game going, can get Leonard Fournette more involved in the offense, bringing the balance to the passing game that's needed, that was missing last year. Again, getting these athletic linemen on the move. Cam Robinson, they also drafted Jawan Taylor out of Florida. So this offensive line will look a lot better in 2019, and so will the running game. Yes, it takes talent to stop the run, but really stopping the run is all about attitude and want to. And the Jacksonville Jaguars, without Telvin Smith potentially this season, will have to be able to stop the run, more particularly the outside run, the weak side outside run, where he would normally be to make a play. And I'm showing you how they can do that by just being assignment sound and beating guys to the spot. Because normally what tries to happen when teams want to run the football outside. They want to make sure they get you guys blocked backside here. Let's say work up here, try to get this guy blocked. Boom, boom. And so what you have to do is essentially don't allow yourself to get reached, don't allow yourself to get hooked. You want to come outside with the running game. So knowing that's the key, when you're talking about weak side defenders, you're talking about the cornerback here on the weak side. You're talking about this weak side linebacker, which would have been Telvin Smith, and this weak safety. So when you're looking at, okay, how can we allow ourselves to not get blocked? So you want to attack this thing in threes. You can be aggressive with your safety and corner, and I'll explain how. You want to make sure your weak side backer meets that fullback head on, try to undercut him, create a pile up there. Cornerback has two choices. You can trust him to crash inside as well, because he knows he has a weak safety giving help, or if you want him to play contain and the safety who's more apt to be a good tackler crashing inside. So either way you can play, but it's all about beating guys to the spot. You're gonna need your weak side backer. Once he sees what's going on, when that fullback comes out to lead block, beat him to the line of scrimmage, create a pile up. Corner, crash inside, create that pile up, because the receiver is going to try to follow you there and force this running back to bounce outside to the waiting arms of a safety that's more apt to making the play. But again, it's going to be important, as it is important for the Jaguars to run the football, it's going to be equally as important for them to stop the run, especially on the weak side. And if they can be assignment sound and guys can do their job, I think they'll be fine.
As far as the next place that we want to go, we're going to go to Jacksonville. Not a lot to talk about here from a fantasy football standpoint. Nick Foles, you're not drafting him. Much better real quarterback, especially in clutch moments. The running back position, Leonard Fournette is going to end up falling. Someone's going to be very pleased to get him in the third round because people are silly. If you're scared of Leonard Fournette getting hurt, guess what? They have a backup of Raquel Armstead who runs the crap out of the ball out of Temple. Just take him in the 9th round and you'll be fine. You get the Jacksonville running back field, and they only play a one-back system, so you'll be fine. Receiver position, D.D. Westbrook's the only guy of value here. You know, if you are in a deep league playing that best ball type thing, maybe DJ Chark because he's really fast, but there's no other guy that really scares me on this list. Otherwise, they would have been producing. And then the same thing with the tight end position. Josh Oliver, he's a young pass catcher. The tight ends generally struggle coming out. The defense, I think the defense will be good, but their schedule is so terrible early on from a variable standpoint. They start with KC. They're playing Kansas City to start. Then they're at Houston. We don't know how that game's going to go. Tennessee's offense could end up being something to play well against, but when you start with Kansas City, I think you want to avoid that. So, not a good move to make.
Troy Anthony here, bringing you the best bets for the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars fell off pretty hard last season after making it to the AFC Championship. The over-under wins for this season is sitting at 8 games. At -125, I'm taking the under 8 wins. They're playing in a tough division with teams like Houston and Indianapolis. They're moving in the right direction, but I don't think they have enough yet. I like the over in their Week 1 matchup home against the Chiefs though. At -110, I'm taking the over 51.5 points. The Chiefs are definitely going to put up numbers. Jacksonville just has to do a little bit to hit that mark. That's all for now. I'm Troy Anthony. Follow me on Twitter @FootballFandom, replacing the O's with zeros.
I'm David Hassagen, and this is Huddle Up with Hassagen. We're going to fire some quick takes about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's start with the breakout candidates. Emery, who do you look for?
Returning back from injury, I love Cam Robinson, the offensive half out of Alabama. I love his Alabama teammate and Ronnie Harrison as a starting strong safety. I love his combo ability, able to play free, strong, find the ball, make plays in the running game. I think those two are your breakout candidates.
Josh Allen, a lot of talk about him falling down to Jacksonville in the draft. Is he your defensive rookie impact?
I think so. And you look at the offensive rookie impact and Jawan Taylor out of Florida. You'd have told me that those two guys would have gone to Jacksonville. I was like, well, they had to have traded back into the first round, into the top 10. They get both guys. Allen's going to be an impact player defensively, and Taylor's going to be an impact player on offense, giving them two good bookends at tackle.
A lot of X factors to look for this Jacksonville team. Who are you singling out?
Well, they need help at tight end, and they drafted Oliver out of San Jose State, who had a really good career with the Spartans and also had a really good week at the Senior Bowl. So I think when you look at him being in this offense, and we know how Nick Foles loves to utilize the tight end as well, he has a chance to really thrive. And also defensively, Jake Ryan. We don't know what we're going to get now from the linebacking core. with Telvin Smith saying he's not going to play this year, here's an opportunity for Jake Ryan to step in and be an impact guy.
Who do you think are going to be surprises this year for the Jaguars?
Undrafted rookie free agent wide receiver Tyree Brady. They need someone that commands respect on the outside. They have good 2 and 3 receivers, but they need a bona fide X. And I think Brady can be that X for them. Out of Marshall, had a really good week at the Senior Bowl as well. Quentin Williams, who's Quentin Williams' younger brother or older brother, I forget it was, but I know it's his brother, played at Murray State. And when you watch his film, instant, impactful speed. Talk about needing help at linebacker. Here's a great opportunity to step in and be a starter for Jacksonville.
A lot of turnover in Jacksonville this year. Is there more optimism or more concern?
I think there's more optimism. They got a quarterback that they can depend on. That's proven himself in the playoffs, going all the way to the Super Bowl and also getting the Eagles to the playoffs 3 times. You know, when he threw 27 touchdowns to 2 picks under Chip Kelly, he got them in the playoffs. He lost to the Saints. We saw him get through the playoffs and get them to the Super Bowl. We saw them get to the playoffs last year and was a drop pass away from probably playing for another chance at the Super Bowl. So they got the stability at quarterback, which will help out the entire offense, and their defense will be a direct beneficiary of that. The cause for concern is what if defensively the loss of Telvin Smith is bigger than what they expect it to be, because he was a really good player. And what if they don't have the success in the passing game that we are expecting them to have success? Not because of Nick Foles, because they don't have those guys on the outside. Remember, Marquise Lee had a gruesome injury last year, so we don't know how healthy he's going to be. So that puts D.D. Westbrook in a situation where he's going to have to be a number 1, and we don't know what they're going to get out of Keelan Cole. Can he find that groove he had 2 years ago? We don't know what they can get out of DJ Chark. So there's some questions in the passing game for Jacksonville. Emory Huntazar, the Playbook here. Joining me now is fellow football game plan analyst Troy Anthony for this 4 Downs with Lazar segment, continuing our preview of the Jacksonville Jaguars as we take a look at the road to the Super Bowl for the Jaguars. I think it starts with Nick Foles. They bring him in, they pay him all the money. If he returns to form, like we saw last year late in the playoffs when he helped the Eagles get into the playoffs, number 1, beat the Bears and nearly beat the Saints, 1 drop pass away from perhaps beating the Saints and probably back to another Super Bowl. How would that have turned out in Philadelphia? But if he returns to form, this offense will have the balance it needs to be successful. So Nick Foles has to prove that he's worth the money.
It's going to be interesting to see if he returns to form, because the argument, what is his form? Is his form the backup that was in KC? That little time that he had with the Rams? Is his form truly what he's done with the Eagles? So it'll be interesting to see. But for him to be any type of productive, I'm going to need his weapons to stay healthy. It seems like the Jacksonville Jaguars always have injuries across the board. Their tight ends are always getting injured. Their starting wide receivers are always getting injured. Keelan Cole went down for a little bit last year. Marquise Lee was lost for the season. And it's yet to be determined if he's going to make it in time before before week 1 even.
Right.
So I'm going to need him to stay healthy if he's going to do anything with Jacksonville.
Speaking of healthy, Leonard Fournette has to stay healthy, but he also has to return to form. When they got to the AFC Championship game, it's because he was outstanding as a rookie. If he can get back to form, and I think because you have a quarterback that's capable in Nick Foles, it's going to take pressure off the running game. He's going to have a lot more room to run the football, and he is a dynamic back. He reminds me a lot of Herschel Walker in that regard. Straight downhill I formation type back that if he gets a crease, he can really take it the distance. But he has to stay healthy. He has to stay committed. And if that happens, Jacksonville can be playing really good football for a long time this season.
And for them to continue playing really good football, I'm going to need that defense to continue being stout. The defense has to stay the same, really, with just a little bit improvement stopping the run. You have juggernauts in Telvin Smith, Marlon Mack, Jalen Ramsey. They have superstars across the board on the defense, but they finished 19th against the run last year. So if they can just do a little bit more to stopping the run, the passing defense is completely okay. I'm not going to hate on you if you get a little bit better there either, but the running defense is what I'm concerned about.
And how well they can do that without Telvin Smith this year, who's decided to take the year off to get right mentally. If he doesn't play this year, that's another question that they'll have to answer. But the good thing about Jacksonville, in my opinion, is that they drafted well over the last couple of seasons. So they got some depth there. Maybe not the Telvin Smith level depth, but they have to find ways, like you said, to get better versus the run. But if they do, and the offense gets up to speed with the defense and gives the defense something to be proud of, Jacksonville will get to the Super Bowl. I have the Jags finishing 4th in the AFC South. Depth at linebacker and in the secondary, and a few questions at wide receiver are my biggest concerns with this team as of right now. And I think this is a 7 or 8 win team that'll be in position to get 9 if depth questions can't get answered very early. Where I don't have questions is at the quarterback position, which is a great thing for Jacksonville moving forward. For this season preview, I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the Playbook. Be sure to follow me on all of our social media accounts, and don't forget to check out and subscribe to Football Game Plan Podcast on iTunes, where you can find our NFL All 32 podcasts, our fantasy football starting lineup, as well as our Scout Team podcast, and leave us a 5-star rating. Also, subscribe to the Football Game Plan Network, located at youtube.com/footballgameplan. Finally, every Thursday and Friday evening at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, be sure to check out the Football Game Plan show on the Game Plus Network. Check with your cable provider for channel listings.